I'm Spencer.
And I'm Steve.
And this is the Fortress of Nerditude Sidekick podcast. And it's going to start now. So we wanted to take an opportunity to kind of have like a little after school special, a moment where we can be real with all the super friends and just have a kind of a frank and honest conversation
On a special blossom.
Right. I've got the Tourette's, and believe me, so you better stop making me eat yet. Beep beep beep. Now that we're making fun of anyone that actually has those afflictions,
or especially those together, and wore those hats that Blossom was so famous for.
Oh, yeah.
That should be a disease all by itself.
But we wanted to take a chance to talk to our super friends, the people that have, that listen to us week in and week out. As you probably obviously are aware, things have been a little crazy. Things have been a little up in the air.
Yep.
Steve's personal life with his father being really sick and other things that are going on in his life have kind of kept him from being super active. And so we want to just kind of have a conversation and kind of let you know where things are at and kind of the status of Steve and his dad and his family and kind of where the Fortress of Nerditude is currently at and where it's going to be. So Steve, why don't you maybe kind of give some background like on your dad, like how, like kind of what all happened and how he's doing and kind of like what kind of kicked a lot of this off for you.
Yeah. No, so good to talk to you guys. First of all, it's good to sit back in the seat and get back on a hot mic. It's been a while. So, I guess long story short is my father, who is upper 60s, so a relatively young guy. He was diagnosed with stage 4 COPD. It's a pulmonary lung issue, which is directly due to smoking. He smoked for longer than I've been alive, and that has a way of catching up with you, as anybody who has somebody that is in their life that smokes knows. So about, I guess it was right after the new year, my dad was admitted to the hospital. He's a veteran. He served in World War II.
He's only really 69 and he served in World War II.
He's 112 and he was also in the 112th Airborne, which is odd. No, he was in the Navy. He served in Vietnam on an aircraft carrier. The Chester Nimitz. No, I don't know. The America. Whatever. USS America.
The USS America.
I think that's what it was called. I don't know.
I think it's called the USS Flint.
Yeah. Anyway, it's irrelevant what he served on. But anyway, so he went in, he was admitted to the hospital, and he actually texted me the night that he was admitted and said, "Hey, I'm going to the VA. I'm not feeling too well, having shortness of breath and all the rest, and it's gotten pretty bad." And so the doctors called me the next morning and said he's unresponsive. And they basically said, if you have family near or far, you should call them because they should come and pay their last respects. So long story short, we went. I gathered the whole family around. I had a brother down in Tennessee. Had him come up, and we spent the next probably a week in the hospital with my dad. And the good news at the end of that tunnel was that he got better. It was touch and go for about 48 hours, and I did everything from calling cemeteries and shopping for caskets to all the rest of the things that you never want to do, but kind of have to do in a moment like that. And they said he'd never leave the hospital. He was on so much oxygen, and they were basically sustaining his lungs with oxygen that could only be provided in an intensive care unit to being on kind of a pull-behind 5-liter canister, which we fondly call the R2 unit. So he's now at home, and he's doing okay, actually.
Which is a miracle. I mean, that's
an
absolute miracle.
He went and had a checkup the other day, and this is a new doctor that he has, and so the doctor's like looking through his file, and you see his jaw like get lower and lower and lower, and he's like, "You should not be alive. There's like a 10% chance that you should even be alive." And so I definitely attribute it. And my dad says, this is my second chance and I'm not going to waste it. But because he can't work and because of the health issues and whatnot, he needs to find different housing. So I've been hard at work trying to find some subsidized housing for him through the VA or through Catholic Charities or any other charities for that matter, to find some place for him to live. So that's been obviously a time intensive process, and it's one that definitely changes your life when the tables turn and you become the parent, I guess, and have to make those kinds of decisions. I mean, Spencer, obviously, as we know from an earlier podcast, and that he had to make that decision, and his wasn't a gradual one where he had days and weeks and months. It happened all at once. So that coupled together with my international panda smuggling ring that I've really been trying to kind of get off the ground.
That red panda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, work has been very busy. Myself and my colleagues have been hard at work trying to. It's almost like a startup kind of. It's within a large global company, but we've been really trying to take our business to the next level, and that's been really time consuming as well. And then, of course, couple all of that with having 4 young children between the ages of 12 and 5 that need my attention, and a wife, of course, that needs my attention. And unfortunately, something had to give. And so the bottom line is that I'm going to have to pull away from the Fortress of Nerditude, which it was not an easy decision. Spencer and I talked about this a little while ago, and he has graciously kind of given me some time to process it, to make sure that was the right decision. It's been thought. There's been some prayer, and it is not with any level of lightness that the decision is made. So, and I guess to kind of round out that, this has always been something that Spencer and I we talked about it, but something that we wanted to do for a long time. But it was always for the fun of it. People are always like, "Hey, you make any money at this? Hey, you getting advertising sponsors?" Like, yeah, we've gotten some people that have had some interest in sponsorship and whatnot, but it was never the goal. The goal was never to make this a second job or things like that. It was always for fun. The nexus of this whole thing was I want to spend at least some time every week with my best friend, and I accomplished that. Like I set out to do something, and I reached that. I climbed Everest, and
wait, I'm that big? Oh man,
not anymore, man. Freaking Spencer, put your hands together, man. What are you down to? What are you down from?
I've lost 45 pounds.
Holy crap!
In just like 2 months.
Yeah. That is awesome. Awesome. So many good things have come from this. The Hopper to Hellboy and all these other things, and we have made so many awesome friends along the way. And so as part of this, I wanted to give some huge shout outs to some special guests, some friends, some specific friends of the Fortress of Nerditude that have just made this journey all the sweeter. Peter Christensen, a huge shout out. Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. None other than the bum Josh Stapleton, and many of his alter egos that have joined us along the way from all points unknown. Gabe Patillo, Johnny Casino, Ed Placencia, Caleb Albers, Chase Van Orden, and of course, Bobby Pauls, but of course Brita Stapleton as well. She's been an ever present movie club goer and just a support of the podcast. But it wouldn't be complete without thanking the most important person, I think, which is General Zod.
Definitely.
General!
You and one day your ass.
It still gets me, Spence. Right in the feels.
So here's the thing. Let me interject here because I want to make this very clear. Like,
yeah.
we talked about this, and Steve and I agreed. Like, this is something we're doing for fun. It's a hobby. Like, we have a lot of fun, and we get to hang out and we get to talk. But when Steve started getting, when his life started getting a lot more serious here, we had a number of conversations, and I was frank with him. I was like, I love you. I've known you for 30 years now. We've been best friends for 30 years. Your responsibility to your family, being a present father, being there for your kids, being there for your wife, helping out your dad, right now in his his time of need. that's more important than this. Like Steve and I still talk. Like we still get on the phone. We still, get on Google Hangouts. We'll still text each other back and forth. Hey, this is what I'm eating tonight. Trying to eat healthy. What are you doing? Like, we just
it's tuna every night.
yeah, tuna, nothing but tuna and crackers. That's not changing. Like nothing in our relationship is changing. It's just
right.
Unfortunately, Steve needs to step back, and I fully support that 1,000%. Matter of fact, when we had that last conversation kind of about this before, like we kind of let a little time to kind of make sure that that's the direction you wanted to go, I was frank and I just said, Steve, if the time that it takes to do this is a detriment to your family or a time drag or something like that effect, it's like, I don't want you here. Because I love you. Right. Like I've always loved you. You're my best friend. You're a brother to me. And I want you to be where you need to be. That is more important. I love having you here, but this isn't the priority in life. The priority in life is our family, right? And you got to make sure that that's number one and you take care of that. So I want our super friends to know that, like, while I'm going to miss you being with us every single week, I'm 1,000% behind you, in your corner, as I've always been, and I'm glad you're making sure you're taking care of the first priority first.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, the bottom line is it really comes down to salary negotiations. This is like a Mark Wahlberg situation. I wanted equal pay. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I can. If you want equal pay, you need to pay up.
Michelle Williams, I'm with you, girl. I'm just kidding. No. Everything that Spencer said is right as rain and truer than true as the day is long. So it's and I totally appreciate it. And to say that that this has been everything that I wanted to be and more would be an understatement. It's been great, man. It's been a year. We have so much fun. I was looking through some of the past episodes. I mean, this all started with a Christmas episode where we talked about Die Hard and
Yep. Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah, Reginald Vell Johnson, and went from to Peeping Tom, Time Traveler, about Back to the Future, and just some fantastic episodes. So much fun. Which
is really funny, Steve. Like, have you gone back and tried to listen to the first episode?
Oh, the quality is for crap.
You are in your basement in a concrete room. I remember
I was in the bunker.
Yeah, you were in the bunker. Their nuclear bombs weren't going to get you down there. And I tried editing that to make it not sound echoey. And I did the best I could. And so it's funny because when we do find new super friends that find the show and they go back and they download that first one, I'm like, maybe you talk to me and I tell you to listen to the newest one.
Right.
And then work your way backwards. Because the first few, we were learning on the job. There was some OJT going on there, on the job training. For sure.
But some great episodes. I mean, Talk Nerdy to Me is one of my favorites. I bought a limo on eBay. Fantastic episode. That was a little slap happy, but man, just some great times. And
I'm never gonna forget that story from Talk Nerdy to Me where you're just run by and throw the necklace at her.
Right. My first brush with romance.
Yep.
Ah! I gave a girl a concussion that the NFL is still seeking damages for.
Well, I think I copped a Phil Collins song and put it on a tape and delivered it in a baseball mitt and on a gym class.
I think this says everything that I want to say. Oh yeah. Man, no, but and also what I love about this as well is that this has literally become a veritable time capsule. That if I get hit by a Mack truck tomorrow, that my kids can go back and be like, this is what my dad was really like. He was just a knucklehead and kind of a crazy guy, and never took himself too seriously.
What their dad was really like was the stuff that we didn't record before and after.
That's right. That's not made for TV movie.
Yeah. Not fit for young children
under the age of 22, or the feeble at heart, or females, or
the elderly, or the infirm.
Anyone of ecclesiastic nature. Anyone who are sensitive to racial slur. No, I'm just kidding. Good times have been had by all, and good times will continue, because obviously Spencer's going to hold the torch like a 90-year-old Olympic gold medalist that just won't give it up. He's just going to keep running with it, man.
Curling. Curling, man. That's how I got it.
That's your sport, man. That's your sport. And it's not to say that I'm not gonna, pop my ugly head up every once in a while like a zit that just won't go away. I'm gonna come back. I'm coming back like John Belushi. It's a zit. But I love you guys, and it's been a wild ride, and it will continue to be. And so, without me here, it's going to be like Bewitched, where they just replaced Darren that died, like with 4 different, or Ultimate Warrior from WWF, man. They just keep replacing him, man. You'll never know.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So the Fortress of Nerditude is going to continue going forward. I'm going to be trying to bring on some guest co-hosts for the next little while. But I'm going to be looking for someone more permanent, someone who wants to co-host with me. No one's going to be able to fill Steve's shoes, because obviously Steve and I have known each other since the womb, and so like that rapport is obviously it'll be a little different, but I'm looking for someone that, I can have good conversations with, that we can laugh and, be a little silly at times, and we can also be serious. And so
put in their applications now.
Right. But if you are a super friend and you are listening, or if you know someone who you think may be a good fit, reach out and hit me up on Twitter at Fort of Nerd. You can send me a direct message, or any of the other ways, the email, the Facebook, or the phone number. And let me know, because I'm going to be looking for someone who's going to be capable and willing to deal with my shenanigans on a week-to-week basis.
Right.
And that's a tall order. I admit it.
I'm in therapy.
Right. But in the meantime, though, I'm going to bring on some guest hosts. Obviously, like, we're going to be recording a movie club with Brita that's coming up. I'm going to have Dev Tyus that's going to join me. Johnny Casino is going to fill in. Josh Stapleton's going to jump in here and there. And so the podcast is going to keep going forward. We're going to keep doing more. We're going to keep active and keep interacting. But the door is always open. So if, Steve, you ever have an opportunity or you have time, you want to jump in, whether just to record something silly and do a little sidekick and we can talk about a movie or a video game or a book, or just chat as a kind of a catch up, that door is always open. If you ever want to come back and, co-host for a night, whatever, or you've got like 3 weeks where like Carrie and the kids are gone and like, you're on vacation from work as well, and somehow you have no responsibilities, you're more than welcome at any time. This is as much yours as it is mine, and so you're always welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, I guess I've kind of said all I want to say. I just want to thank all of the studio audience for being with us on this wild ride. It's been awesome, and I know it will continue, but thank you for what you've given me. It's been a gift, and it's been awesome just to hang out with you guys on a weekly basis, for your guys' interactions. It's made everything, that's been like the flavor of this podcast. That's been the spice. That's been the color. It has been your interactions. So please continue, and I guess to quote the eternal, effervescent, evergreen Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over, just smile because it happened. May the force be with you. Always.